In this video, we are going to dive into PHP file handling, focusing specifically on reading files. We will explore several functions that PHP provides for this purpose. These functions allow us to interact with files, retrieve data from them, and use that information in our PHP applications. Understanding these functions is crucial for any PHP developer who needs to work with data stored in files. Let's get started. First, we will see the fopen function, which opens file handles. Then the fread function, which is used to read binary data. The fgets function that reads line by line, and finally the file_get_contents function, which reads the entire file at once. Let's begin by discussing the fopen function. The fopen function in PHP is used to open a file and create a file handle. This handle is then used by other file functions to interact with the file. It takes two main parameters. The first parameter is the file name, which is the path to the file you want to open. The second parameter is the mode, which specifies the type of access you require, such as reading, writing, or appending. Here's the basic syntax. The variable file handle is equal to fopen function with parameters filename.txt, and the mode is R. R stands for read only. Now let's review some common modes. The R mode, which stands for read only. Then the W mode, which stands for write only. Next, the A mode, which stands for append only. And finally, the R+ mode, which stands for read/write. Here is an example that shows how to open and close a file using the fopen function. First, we declare a variable named file and assign it the result of fopen with parameters data.txt and R. This attempts to open the file named data.txt in read mode. Next, we use an if statement to check if the file was opened successfully. If the file variable is true, it means the file was opened. Then we execute the fclose function. The fclose function closes the open file. Finally, we add an else block that will echo the string error opening file if the file opening was unsuccessful. Now let's discuss the fread function. The fread function in PHP is used to read a specified number of bytes from an open file. This function is particularly useful for reading binary data, or when you need to read a specific chunk of a file. To use the function, we first need to open a file using the fopen function. Here's the basic syntax. The data variable is equal to fread with parameters fileHandle and length. FileHandle is the FileHandle resource that we created using the fopen function. Length is the number of bytes we want to read from the file. Here are some examples. To read the entire file, we first get the file size using the filesize function. Then we pass the file handle and the file size to the fread function. To read specific bytes, we simply pass the file handle and the number of bytes we want to read to the fread function. Now let's discuss the fgets function. The fgets function in PHP is used to read a single line from an open file. It's very useful for processing text files line by line. It stops reading when it encounters a new line character or reaches the end of the file. Here's the basic syntax. The line variable is equal to fgets with the parameter fileHandle. We can optionally pass in a length limit. In this case, the line variable is equal to fgets with parameters fileHandle and 4096. Here's how we can use the fgets function to loop through a file line by line. We can declare a while loop that continues as long as the line variable is equal to the result of the fgets function with the file variable is not equal to false. In the body of the loop, we simply echo the line variable. Now let's discuss the file_get_contents function. The file_get_contents function in PHP is used to read the entire contents of a file into a string. This function is straightforward and convenient for reading small to medium-sized files in one go. It's not recommended for very large files because it loads the entire file into memory at once, which can be inefficient. Here's the basic syntax. The content variable is equal to file_get_contents with the parameter filename.txt. The file_get_contents function is simple and direct. We simply assign the results of the function to a variable, and then echo the variable. It's also important to handle errors by checking if the content variable is not equal to false before echoing the content variable. Let's compare the functions we've discussed and consider when to use each one. The fopen plus fread functions are best for large files, binary data, and memory control. The fgets function is best for line processing, text files, and sequential reading. The fileGetContents function is best for small files, simple reading, and one-time operations. Finally, let's consider some best practices. Always check for errors, close file handles when done with file operations, and consider the file size when choosing a function. Here is a complete example of reading a configuration file. We'll demonstrate two methods. Method 1 reads the file line by line. First, we declare a variable named file and assign it the result of fopen with parameters config.txt and r. This attempts to open the file named config.txt in read mode. Next, we use a while loop that continues as long as the line variable is equal to the result of the fgets function with the file variable is not equal to false. In the body of the loop, we simply echo the results of the trim function with the line variable and add a new line character. After the loop, we call the fclose function to close the file variable. Method 2 reads the entire file at once. We declare a variable named content and assign it to fileGetContents function with the parameter config.txt. Then we simply echo the content variable. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.